We are live. All right, let's see who's coming live here.
I didn't turn the volume down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the closing keynote. I'm seeing everyone join here on the comments. If you're coming in, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about where you're from. Would love to chat to you. This is awesome. Hey, Aida from SF. Woohoo! I love that. Alice, what's going on? Good to have you. Who else is here? This is sweet. I know we got some other meetings that are finishing up. It's good to have everyone tune in. Look at this. Let's see who else. We'll just wait a couple minutes here while people roll in. If you're jumping into the chat right now, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about where you're from. There we go. Alice from Vancouver, Canada. What is going on in Vancouver today? Is it boiling over there? Carol. Hey, Park City. That's our neck of the woods. We're right down the road from you here in Lehi, Utah. We're actually in the Kiln office today. Check this out. I'll show my camera around. You can see some of the cool art. You can see the folks at the front desk over here. And you can also see we're going to be doing a little giveaway here at the end. We got some more t-shirts to give away. So if you want a t-shirt, stay tuned. We're going to tell you all about how to get those. Let's see who else is coming. Hello, Mandisa from Cali. I know Mandisa. I've seen you on LinkedIn and you came to our last summit. Thank you so much for being with us. Christopher, what's going on? Salt Lake City, you're just down the road. We're in Lehi. Heber City, what's going on, Lisa? Kyle, good to have you guys. Nicole, San Diego. Oh man, I wish I was in San Diego right now. I'd go to the beach right after this. That is for sure. We need a rest. Good to see everyone starting to roll in here. Zippy Entertainment, what's going on? Shout out to Zippy. It's 116 degrees in Arizona right now. You got to get out of there, man. That is boiling stuff. Well, everybody, I am so excited to be with you today here for the closing keynote of the Get Hired Summit. I want to share, for those of you who haven't been around for the whole summit and maybe that weren't here last summit, a little bit about how the summit came to be. So the Get Hired Summit, we mentally and the company that Tanner and I have built is all about mentoring people into great positions. You can go and download our app and actually see some of the replays for the summit, and you can go and connect to mentors there if you want. We're working on helping people get jobs at the beginning of the year, and then heard about everything that was going on with the pandemic. And we knew that as a result of people not being outside and coming into contact with each other, that there was going to be this massive wave of unemployment. And so we started racking our brains around how we could be a solution before people had to social distance and everything came out. And we came out with this idea like, hey, let's do a virtual career fair, absolutely knowing nothing about how to plan for a virtual career fair. And so we saw a couple of other people posting it on LinkedIn, posting about virtual career fairs on LinkedIn. So we teamed up with a bunch of people and we said, you know, hey, let's just set the date 3 weeks from now and see what happens. So we announced it on LinkedIn that we were going to do this virtual career fair in 3 weeks, and we got to work. And within 3 weeks, over 5,000 people had registered for that first Get Hired Summit. And it was this really cool experience where we saw people and companies banding together to lift each other lift each other up and help each other out during a time when a lot of people needed it. And we're still in the thick of it. We're not out of this yet. And so, after that summit, we sat down and we said, let's do another summit. And we set the date a little bit further this time to give ourselves some more time to plan. And it's just gotten bigger and better. And if you've been a part of some of the live chats before this, and you've been a part of the sessions, the speakers, we've been able to take them to the next level with some great speakers from last time, as well as some amazing new speakers. The companies that have been able to come to this, companies like Adobe, Aparavi, companies like Lucid Software and Starbucks, and all of these other great technology firms, Pinterest, for example, MarketStar, they've all been able to join us to band together to help you who are looking for jobs and looking to improve your career, make it to your next place. So we're just so excited to see that. The thing that has buoyed me up the most and been such an incredible experience is seeing everyone in the comments here on YouTube and then on the Slack channel reach out to each other and offer help, offer introductions. If you haven't yet, this is the ethos of the Get Hired Summit. Reach out to someone and say, hey, I know someone that works in product management. If they're a product manager looking for a job, I know someone that works in engineering, and introduce them. And help them out, send them some resources. I saw Natalie Tate posting amazing resources around how to prepare for interviews earlier. Let's keep this community going. With that, I wanted to send a huge thank you to everyone who's been involved in the summit. First and foremost to the organizing committee who's been a part of putting this all on. First to Utah Women in Sales. For those of you who don't know, Utah Women in Sales organized a lot of the companies that came as employers. So shout out to Utah Women in Sales. Give them a little clap in the feed here, if you can. I want to send a shout out to the Utah Black Chamber. James Jackson has been an incredible partner. Karen as well, Rodriguez, who moderated a couple of the sessions today, amazing partner as well. And they've been able to come in, bring their community to the event, and really be a special partner at a time where African Americans have a moment and an opportunity to rise. And so we've been really fortunate to have James and his knowledge and being able to include their community. Then the Diversity Career Fair, who James is involved in, but also Bruce Hansey, who you might have seen present for Galileo at the event as well. This organization is just fantastic. And I remember them coming to us at the beginning of us planning for this next career fair. And they said, wow, what an incredible job you guys did with the first Get Hired Summit. Can we be a part of that? Because we had an in-person career fair and we want to be a part of a virtual career fair. And so we joined forces, and it's been really cool to see how that community has come together to make this success. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you, James, and the Diversity Career Fair. Wanted to send a massive shout out to Rev Road. This is actually the accelerator program that we're in at the moment, Mentorly is. And they have been such a huge help. So many of the moderators that have been part of these sessions today have come from Rev Road. They're employees at Rev Road. They have full-time jobs outside of this. They're not getting paid to be a part of the Get Hired Summit. They're doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. And so they jumped in and moderated sessions. They helped us with the marketing for the event. If you've seen the clean all of the marketing collateral that has gone out, that's on them. So thank you so much to Rev Road. And they did an information session earlier today about becoming an entrepreneur. And it might have not been something that's crossed your mind if you're out of work or you're looking for a job. Consider looking at starting your own business, and the folks at Rev Road can help you get connected to the resources you need to get off the ground and make sure that it's a success. It's certainly been a huge help for us. And then finally, Mentorly, our company. So for those of you who don't know, Mentorly, our mission is to help people find jobs through mentors. And we've connected to all of these different groups and brought them into the platform, and we're constantly looking to expand reach and access to good mentorship, because we know that having a mentor and a referral when you're looking for a role, for any of you who were in Austin Balsack's session earlier today, you need that personal contact to be able to get to the next phase in your career. And so I guess that's what we're doing. We're leaning into that power to give you access to a group of mentors and referrals that you might not have had access to before. And so if you haven't yet, go and log into the Mentorly app, go and find a mentor. And also, I guess on Monday, you'll be able to see the replays for some of these sessions. So go and check some of those out as well. With that said, I wanted to give a special shout out. We have a lot of sponsors. And if you go to the website, gethiredsummit.com, you'll be able to see all of the sponsors and all of the companies that have been involved in this event, some incredible companies. And so I won't list them all out here. You can see them there. We've given them shout outs on social media as well. So if you go and follow us on LinkedIn and our different channels, you'll be able to see that. But I want to give a special shout out to Kiln, whose office we're working in right now, and whose shirt I'm wearing. And so if you want a shirt like this, I'd encourage you. So mentally, I have Tanner looking through the comments here. We did this earlier today and it worked really well. If you wanted to comment the craziest place that you've worked or the weirdest place that you've worked, then we'll be able to pick a couple random people from that to go and send this shirt to. And so we'll take your name, plug it into Slack, and reach out to you there if you've won. So stay tuned for that. I want to come back to the chat here real quick. Woot woot, Utah Women in Sales, love that, love the claps. Oh my goodness, Carolyn, thank you. This is so much better than a traditional career fair. Thank you so much. So thank you so much all for these comments. This is awesome. Before we do anything, I wanted to do or move on to next steps. I wanted to do something quickly. I wanted some feedback from you, and this is probably not, if you're going to Silicon Slopes or if you're going to a big TechCrunch conference or something like that, we can't do this. But since we're live here in the chat, I would love if you could tell us first, we're going to do an activity here first, all of the things that you loved about the conference, because we're going to be doing this again, and we want to know what things to lean into and what things to do. So if you loved something about the conference, or if you got something good out of the conference, if you could just post it there, it could be really short. That would be really helpful for us. So we'll see some of these come through here. While we're waiting for that, I'll just read here. Will there be a replay from Bridget? Yeah, there will be a replay of this. And so you can actually check it out on the Mentally app. If you go to the App Store and download it, you can check it out there. And I'll have Tanner actually post the links to, actually, if you just post the link to our website, Tanner, they can go and download it right there. Let's see, will there be a replay? Feedback. Katrina, okay, love being able to connect with recruiters and talent folks. Make some connections on LinkedIn too. Okay, cool. So you're able to take it out of the Get Hired Summit and take it onto LinkedIn. All the presenters were awesome and knowledgeable. Totally agree. Quality, intimacy, and openness of the speakers was unparalleled. Wow, Nora, thank you so much. This is great. This is really good feedback. Other good things. We're going to get to the stuff that we can improve on for sure, but other good things would be great. Personal brand. There we go, Doris. The personal branding session last night was fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah, we really tried to create a more intimate setting where we can kind of talk back and forth with you. We didn't have that last time. And so I'm glad that some of this feedback is coming up. Love the variety of industries that had info sessions. Yeah, wasn't that cool? We had from Starbucks all the way up to Adobe and everything in between, technical roles, non-technical roles. We're trying to work on access that way to get this out to more people, but love that too. Bridget, love Austin. Yeah, we all do. He's got the most incredible advice. Can you believe how much he condensed into 40 minutes? That was unbelievable. The The virtual booth. Okay, cool. Guest speakers. Nice. Okay, so we're gonna cut it right there. If there's anything else good that you have, please keep mentioning it. Now, I want to do something that people don't usually do at these types of events. I need feedback. What can we improve on the experience to make this a better, more intimate, more useful and more impactful session for all of you? If there's anything that you can do, please let us know. And we want everyone to see it as well, because we want to be held accountable. Next time we do this, it's going to be 10 times better. Just like this one has been better than the last summit. So anything that we can improve on. Let's check it out. Keep them coming. There's a little delay here. Diana, I love that you're giving us feedback. Can you elaborate on that? I'm not quite sure what you mean, but thank you for giving us feedback. Intimate setting, you send out a survey so we can always provide you feedback. Yeah, we are going to send out a survey on top of this as well. If there's anything else, get some more content, more low-level stuff. We're in the hangar and we need more steps. Okay, I like that, to get into the sky. So it's more like actionable tips, if that's what you mean, Balaam. Didn't get all of the emails for the sessions I signed up for Google Forms. Okay, we can get a little bit more organized there for sure. Designs on the wall behind you. Those designs are pretty cool, huh? Overlap of the sessions. Yeah, it's tough to fit everything into 2 days, but what we found is, yeah, that was difficult, the scheduling. Something that we think about, I mean, who said that? Nora. You mentioned the overlap was a little bit difficult. We've thought about making it kind of a weekly event, something that we do weekly and that we don't have any overlap. And so it's like a constant get hired summit. If that's something that you're interested in, let us know. We'd love to see what your insights would be on that. So it wouldn't be like as big of an event, but maybe something that we do on a constant basis, like 2 or 3 companies present every week, and you can tune in, do something like that. Links for launching the sessions. Yeah, so we did have a little bit of issues with getting the links out early. We need to get that down as well. Page with links to the companies. Oh, okay, yeah, we can do that, Chris. That's an easy ask. Awesome. Well, we're gonna stop it there. If you have any direct feedback, please let us know. We're gonna be sending out a survey after this, so I encourage you, please tell us how we can improve. We want to improve this experience, and we're grateful that you're part of the community and want to make sure that this is useful for you and something that can help you find your next play. I hope all of you have had the opportunity to either get something and actionable out of the keynotes that have taken place, or that you've been able to go out and actually apply to some of these cool companies that have been here. They want to hear from you, and they're hiring like crazy. Vivint Smart Home is hiring 600 positions. I know Intermountain Healthcare is hiring for 200 positions. Starbucks hiring across the board, tons of positions. So well over 1,000 job opportunities for you here. So would really love to see you all get jobs at these incredible companies. With that said, I wanted to do this at the end. So the Cyd Tetro, she's incredible. She is, go and look at her LinkedIn profile if you haven't yet. She is the CEO of ForgeDX. She is the founder and president of the Women Tech Council, which is a massive women's organization. Really respect them, and they're a big partner of Mentalities. But then you go and look back in her career, and she's been on boards. She's sold companies. She's done literally everything that one might dream of when you think of an incredible career. And she was super excited to chat with us. She is not going to be able to join live right now, but she recorded a session literally just an hour ago so she could talk to you because her internet is cutting out. This the virtues of doing an online virtual event. But I'm going to be able to share that with you now. And so without further ado, I'll let Sid take it away.
And I have an opportunity to record this keynote and share it with you and talk a little bit about what I call being certain in uncertain times. And don't worry, I'm going to show you my... Hi, I'm Cydni Tetro and I'm with the Women Tech Council, and I'm really grateful to be part of this Get Hired Summit and have an opportunity to share just a couple of thoughts with you. As you can tell, I'm down here at Lake Powell, and I have an opportunity to record this keynote and share it with you and talk a little bit about what I call being certain in uncertain times. And don't worry, I'm going to show you my slides on my laptop as I go. And this is a really great summit because this is about a lot of uncertainty that we face in the world today, and we have an opportunity to create some powerful discussions around the things that we as individuals can be doing and what companies are doing to help us, because even during these uncertain times, we're building careers, and there are strong characteristics that I think help us be certain about how we forge our path forward, even when we're feeling like there's a number of things that are uncertain around us. As I've been down here at Powell, I've reflected often on this topic of what do we do next? What situations do we find ourselves in? And I thought about a lot of my nieces and nephews and my own children who are trying new things behind the boat, whether it's surfing or kneeboarding or slalom skiing, and how often it takes many, many times. And oftentimes when you're trying new things or you're developing skills, you fail along the way. And how important it is that you just get back on the board and that you try again. And even when you're frustrated, you dig deep and have the opportunity, because you will find success. You will find a sense of accomplishment. And I think that's a really important thing, that when we feel uncertain or when there are things that are causing doubt, that we remember that we can dig deep and that there will come a time where we will see the other side of that. I think these are the types of things that being certain in these uncertain times really requires. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to build a brand with Hasbro and Marvel, and the brand was called Super Awesome Me. We had this opportunity to help people step into their favorite stories. So if you happen to love a superhero or a Star Wars character, we, for a moment in time, helped you step into your favorite storyline and really become transformed in that moment. And we saw it time and time again in fans, that for just a moment in time, they could see themselves as those characters. Now, I have a brother whose name is Steven Rogers, and he thinks he's Captain America all of the time. But it's because he loves the relatability of those stories and of what those characters represent. And that's what we saw in fans, that for a moment in time, they transformed. One of the things I want to propose is that each one of you have a super awesome me story. Each one of you are a role model or a mentor or someone that is showing someone a new path, and they can see themselves in your shoes, no matter what that path is. And that's a really, really powerful thing. You have your super awesome me story. And as you look at your career development in the future, the questions become, what types of characteristics either help me develop my career or become hired? And I wanted to take an opportunity and share with you kind of 5 characteristics that I see as those characteristics that help define some of what we can be certain about while we might be uncertain about what the future holds. First one I'd like to share with you is this idea of grit. I have an opportunity to work and teach in the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. I was teaching one of the modules at the moment that the pandemic hit. The pandemic had happened for about a week. Everything was getting shut down across the entire country. And we had a cohort of almost 50 scholars. And I remember being at the very beginning of that week when we started talking about, our module happened to be around marketing and sales. And I opened it up and I asked some questions. And I saw all of the impact that it was having on these small businesses. 75% of their revenue was looking to be lost overnight. The livelihoods that they helped provide for were getting impacted. And when I looked at those entrepreneurs, do you know what I saw? I saw grit. I saw passion and perseverance. I saw that while they knew that they were faced with things that were unprecedented, challenges they've never had to solve before, that they came up with creative solutions. And over the course of that week, I saw them find ways to transform their businesses. Now, of course, they couldn't all recover all that revenue, but what I saw in them is grit. I saw them take these unprecedented challenges that they were faced with. I saw them dig deep. I saw what they had built, and that they would persevere through whatever challenges. And some of them completely transformed their businesses in matters of weeks. And some are still in the process of transformation. But it doesn't change the fact that the characteristic that makes them stand out and that can make us stand out is grit. This idea that passion and perseverance are core to who we are, and a characteristic that shows up in everyday life, in our careers, and in the people that we work with. I really believe that grit is one of those certain characteristics that helps us define a path forward, and can help you define a path forward as you find those things that you are willing to persevere for because of the passion that you have for them. The next one that I wanted to talk about is the idea of being curious. Sometimes I call it the art of the possible. A couple of years ago, I was getting into business with a couple of gentlemen, and I was kind of unsure about working with them and where this was going to take. And so I asked one of my trusted business advisors to come in and interview them. And she sat down and she interviewed them, and she came back to me and she said, "Sid, I'm not really sure you should go into business with them." And I said, "Okay, tell me why." And she kind of gave me some of her reasons or reflections on what her conversation was. And of course, I didn't really heed to the advice, and I got into business with them, and the inevitable happened. It did not work out to be a good relationship. And a little while after that, I asked her, I said, "What could you see that I couldn't see?" Even, with the things that she had told me. And she said, "Sid, it came down to the fact that they weren't curious enough. They didn't ask questions. They didn't push to be better. They didn't go deeper. They didn't want to learn." And just simply based on the dialogue that she had, she could tell that they were not curious enough to be able to be strong partners for me in a business. And I've often reflected on what that means and how we should be more curious. You want people working with you who are curious, who believe they don't have all the answers, who don't come to the table only thinking it's their way, but they're willing to help you dig deeper, help you become better, and help you define a way that you really never thought possible. A couple of years ago, I was working with one of the world's largest retailers, and I was working with their very senior tech team, and we were designing a new guest customer experience. It was going to go in their customer experience center. And so we had come up with these ideas that we really felt were going to transform a part of what would become possible inside of the store experience, where you connected physical and digital experiences. And we were thinking about how we were going to set up this demo and really show it to all the key stakeholders across the organization. And we were sitting there doing that, and we had this idea that said, wonder if the question that we ask everyone is, what would happen if this were possible? Like, how would your world change if this technology became possible in the experience? And what we found is that it opened up an entire new world that we hadn't thought of. So whether merchandising was coming through, or sourcing, or legal, the ideas that they had were so much better than the ideas that we initially came up with, but that our technology enabled. Curiosity is one of those certain characteristics that helps you define how you can move forward. And it also helps you become just this amazing team member alongside of other people. What is the art of the possible? How do you help explore that? And how do you help push the people around you to be better just by your ability to be curious? Curiosity is for sure one of those traits that allows us to be better. And those are for sure the people you want on your team. The next one that I want to talk about is this idea called activation. I'm a big believer in being an activator. And while I'm not going to show you all of this, I had the opportunity when I was working at Disney to work on a couple of really cool projects and really think about activation. Now, my job was to work in Imagineering, and I was really focused on technology commercialization. How do we take these amazing technologies and build businesses out of them? And one of the things that we started thinking about was, how could you make sure in the nighttime celebrations that our people weren't just spectators, but they were actually immersed inside of the stories that were happening. So we came up with this idea for these programmable LEDs that would go with the nighttime shows. And what was really cool about this is it could do that. Now, this project, we happened to have shown it to the executive team at Disney, in November. And after they saw it and, CEO puts the Mickey ears on, they decided that they wanted to launch this in about 7 months. Now, this was a brand new idea, and it took a massive amount of things to get activated and to put it into force. And what was so cool is that we had a team of people who were willing to say, we'll be activators. We will take an idea and execute it. We will take anything that you throw at us and make it happen. And this is a very special skill that I think a lot of us have to continue to work on. How do you take strategy? How do you take big ideas and how do you land the plane? How do you turn that into actual execution where there are results and there are an actual project? Because many people can think of great ideas, but not everyone can activate entire teams around them. Now in this World of Color project, we had to activate hundreds of departments. We had to get product created and manufactured out of China, had to get it shipped here. We had to create show control systems, integrated with show control systems. You name it, it had to be done for this project. But the team all wore that hat of activation. We will make the trade-offs, we will make smart trade-offs, and we will make decisions through collaboration to make this happen. And I really believe that being a strong activator is one of those strengths that when it shows up allows you to take entire teams of people and make things happen. And when teams of people follow you and help you get things done, you know that you are doing a really good job of leading people through what are maybe difficult challenges or hard projects, and not because you know all the right answers, but because you can rally the team to deliver on a common goal. And that becomes a very, very important skill, that idea of what I call activation. Now, the next characteristic that I want to talk to you about is this idea of humility. It's a picture of my daughter. A couple of days ago, I was picking up her up from dance, and she jumps in the car, and she was a few minutes late, and she whips out her phone, and she says, "Mom, I'm so sorry I'm late." She pulls up these notes, and she said, "I was asking my teacher after dance, what are the things that I need to work on to be better?" And I paused for a moment, and I reflected on how simple yet powerful that statement was, that she was humble and brave enough to go to her teacher and say, "I know I'm not doing all these things perfectly. What should I work on?" And then she was not only willing to ask the question, but to take the feedback and think about how she would apply it. I want you to think about that in our business settings, because I think it is a very, very, very hard thing to figure out. How are you willing to take feedback and apply that and improve? A number of years ago, when I was coming out of grad school, finished my MBA, and I really felt like I knew a lot of things. And I remember my VP at the time, I was in product management, he came to me and he said, "Sid, you have to stop talking so much in all the meetings. You need to listen to what other people have to say, and you don't have to talk all the time, even if you think you have great ideas." And now at that point in time, I could have been really mad at Dave, or I could have paused for a moment and said, "You know what? I think he's saying a few things right." And I did. For me, that became a pivotal moment where I had an opportunity to take feedback, and I decided to change my behavior and make that woven through my career. I've been very grateful for people willing to give me feedback, for the opportunity it gives me to reflect on what I'm doing and to improve and change. But I think this is a skill that takes a lot of work to develop. A couple of years ago, my 14-year-old son was playing competitive soccer, and he had gone from starting to kind of just subbing in, and he was getting really, really frustrated. And Ryan and I talked about it for a little bit, and I said, maybe you should just go ask your coach, what do I need to do to get back to starting position? So Wright texted his coach, and they met up, and Wright was willing and brave enough to ask the question. And his coach turned to him and he said, "Do you know what your problem is? You have a bad attitude, and it's showing up on the field." Now again, at this moment in time, he could have been really mad, and he could have said, "It's your fault, I do not. Of course, why would I have that? You're the one who's punishing me by not letting me play." But Wright paused on that for a couple of days, and he thought about it, and then he decided how he would act. And he decided to change his attitude and to show up and to see if that made a difference. And over the course of the next 2 weeks, his playing time changed, and things started to change for him inside of the team and with those dynamics. For me, it was just another example of we have to be willing and humble enough to take feedback and respond to it to get to the outcomes that we so want. The fifth one that I want to leave with you is this idea of being fearless. Being fearless is really hard. I think oftentimes we look at people that we know and we say, they are so fearless. They go after everything they want and they always get it. And they're so successful and they're doing everything that they could possibly do. But being fearless is one of those traits that we have to constantly develop. A couple of years ago when I was raising capital, had the opportunity to meet with one of my investors. And he called me up and he said, Cyd, we got to fly. I need you to fly to Beverly Hills. We're going to have this Sunday meeting and walk into this swanky Beverly Hills hotel, this conference room. And he's on one end and I'm on the other end, and I know we're in for a negotiation. And we talk for a while and we talk about the business and what he's thinking. And it was a strategic partner, and he ran a multi-billion-dollar company. And he looked at me and he said, okay, Cyd, what do you want me to do with your company? Do you want me to buy it? Do you want me to invest in it? Or do you want me to do a joint venture? And I remember being in that conversation. And of course, we had talked about what we had wanted before. We knew what our most likely preference was. But we also were at this point where I wasn't quite brave enough just to say this is what I wanted. So instead of saying what I wanted, I said, you know, we're okay with any of those. What would be better for you? And I remember that being this pivotal moment in the conversation where, because I didn't declare what I felt was the right thing and defend it with the reasons that I felt that it was, it ended up spinning the conversation in a way that took us months longer to do a deal. We didn't close a deal for another 6 months, and it wasn't exactly the deal that I wanted to close in that moment. I have often thought that in that moment, I wasn't fearless enough to declare the things that I wanted because I was worried about what someone else thought versus what I had done the research on, what I knew was our option, and what we were willing to take as a solution. Now, going into those conversations, you always have to know your BATNA, your best alternative to your negotiated agreement. When you propose a solution, what might happen on the opposite side. But you have to know, and you have to be brave enough to ask for it based on all of those variables. I often think about it as the art of the ask. We must be willing to ask for what we want and step forward into that space. A couple of years ago, a few gentlemen before me had negotiated a deal with a really large customer, and this deal was making us no money. The P&L didn't make any sense. While it was a super strategic partner and we loved working with them, we couldn't really find a path through that was going to make sense based on the deal that was created. So I had an opportunity to go in and renegotiate the deal. And I remember looking at all of the facts and going through the models and knowing that I had a really solid proposal based on the results that we had so far. I walked into the meeting. This was a Fortune 25 company with one of their most senior executives. And I sat down in his office, and I too, even in that moment, had to remember to be fearless. I had to remember to say, I know exactly what I want. I've done the research. Let's come up with an arrangement that looks like this. That's exactly what I did. I put it on the table. We laid it out. And in that meeting, we had this amazing strategy session around how we would accomplish changing our relationship in a structure that would allow us to make money, remain great partners, and have the impact that we had previously had on that business. Now, I didn't walk into the meeting knowing exactly all the deal terms, but I walked into the meeting knowing the type of structure that I needed to be successful. I also walked into that meeting knowing that if he said no, that I was okay walking away from that relationship because it was not working for the company. I had to have all that data, I had to be confident in my delivery, and I had to be fearless enough to ask for the things that would make a difference for the company and for that deal structure. I think we oftentimes have opportunities to be fearless. And most often in those moments, we have to remind ourselves what it means to be fearless, what it means to ask for the things that we want, whether that's in our career, whether that's in a raise, whether that's in the position, whether that's even sometimes in those variables that you're fearful someone won't give you when you discuss them. I was negotiating a deal on my employment contract a couple of years ago. And there were some very specific things that I wanted out of this relationship. And I also knew that if they didn't give them to me, that it would probably mark the end of our relationship over the next couple of months. And you know what? I went in and I asked for 3 specific things, and they gave me half of one. And it was at that moment that I knew that we could no longer be in a working relationship. But if I had not been fearless enough to ask, I wouldn't have been able to make those decisions that would lead to new opportunities and the next opportunity from that. There are things that all of us have that are uncertain in our lives. We're building careers. We live in an unknown time for what the next 6 months looks like. None of us could have predicted what we would be faced with in 2020. but there are things that are certainly in our control. And these are characteristics that no matter what's happening around us, help define who we are, define how we work, and define how people want to work with us in the future. And we have many opportunities to own those and to create a future that enables us and empowers us and helps us continue to grow. You know, I often say that one of the barometers that I look at the work that I do is that when I leave a company, will people want to work for me again? Would they follow me to the next company? Do they think that I was the type of leader that they want to work for and that helps them unlock their talents, that empowers them to do their very best? I think we all want to work with amazing people, people who build us up, who push us to our limits, and who help develop those talents that we are all on this continual journey to do. As we live in these very uncertain times, I can be certain that if you have grit and humility and curiosity, the ability to activate, and are fearless, that you will be able to navigate these uncertain times, and that you will come out on the other side with opportunity and growth and an ability to be able to conquer whatever comes before you. I'm really grateful for the opportunity I have to share a couple of thoughts with you. And as you know, this community is one that all comes together to make things possible. And I want to leave you with one thought that I think is really important, and it's this idea that may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. And I hope that each one of us is willing to jump into the unknown, but take the things that we are certainly great at and developing and use those as skills to move forward. Thank you.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Sid, and thank you so much for inspiring us, for giving us the inspiration to go out and be fearless. For those of you who are looking for your next play, who are looking for your next opportunity, for those of you who are looking to up-level your career, this is an opportunity to do that, to take the next step, to reach out to that person who you've been holding back from reaching out to apply to the job, to be fearless about doing the work and having the grit to take the next step. Thank you from the bottom of our heart for joining the Get Hired Summit. You're an amazing part of this community, each and every single one of you, and we appreciate you being here with us, giving us feedback, commenting, engaging. We hope that we've been able to be helpful to you in your career, and we hope that you'll stick with us and help us improve and continue to create an event and a platform where folks can get hired, can improve their careers. And so with that said, thank you to all the organizers, thank you to the sponsors, thank you to everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time. Give us some clappy hands there in the feed. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.